Welcome back to LearnBC. You're here with Jared, and we are in a series called Master Data Management 101. It's all about getting you into Business Central with your master data. We take you through creating config packs and just build your confidence understanding which fields do we need to think about in this particular product. So before we get into this, there's three things that we like to talk about. We always like to cover the context and the rules, the actual procedure, what does it look like, and the outcomes. And before we get into this, please like, share, subscribe, comment, or email us at how@learnbc.today. Would love to hear from you and get your collaboration with the channel. Help us build this community. Let's get started. Well, master data record, SOP-7, we're talking about employees, and this can be a little bit confusion. And the confusion comes from the concern is, well, which record am I actually using? And so you have employees, which is actually closely tied into enabling payroll records, all right? So in the US, they're actually a HR module for Business Central, and it's not used commonly in Asia Pacific because it's not supported. Resources. So a resource is something that we charge on the line. You can't charge an employee out on a line. So if you've got sales or purchase lines or journals, there is no such thing as a employee. There's only resources. We have warehouse employees, which is about enabling a particular person to see a preference within a warehouse. You have your users, which is the person who logged into Business Central. And then you've got your salespeople purchases, which is just the identifier of who raised the sales document or purchase document and how do you track accordingly. And I know sometimes it feels a little bit crazy because there's all of it, but it all has its purpose. The employee record is setting you up for the ability to start tracking basically people's pay into timesheets, into bringing them in through, for example, through to a payroll point or an integration out to other sources of payroll like Employment Hero or ADP or whatever you choose to use as your payroll platform. So what is the trigger here on an employee record? It's quite logical. Sorry, before we get into that, the topics, we're going to talk the employee card, the HR module and scope, employee posting groups. We're going to talk about resource linking for time tracking. So the trigger here is you got a new staff member or you're starting out and you need to load everybody in, and we're going to use a config pack. So a staff member is hired and requires tracking for basic HR purposes, out-of-pocket expense reimbursement, and time resource allocation. I'll add this. Microsoft has just announced at the last Microsoft conference, so we're in 2026, they've announced the new expense manager agent, okay, which is super cool, which is going to tie back into this. And it even comes with an expense portal. You don't need to be a Business Central user to be able to submitting your expenses. So it's pretty cool where they're going. That's something that is expected to be in full release by Wave 2 in 2026. At the moment, we're in April, just finished April, and we're in Wave 1, and we're approaching Update 1, okay? And so you should be able to get into this in preview as a partner, and you can talk more about that, just throwing that in there. But what are the preconditions? The bronze data, you've got your data, okay? So you know what it is. You're going to identify your postings and your setups and make sure that the employee posting group and map expense reimbursements to the correct GL accounts. And we want to make sure privacy is secured. Security roles are set up so only authorized users can see sensitive employee data. We generally like to keep employee data very, very protected. We don't like anybody knowing what the employees paid or what they've claimed, et cetera, et cetera. So this is really, really important for you. The key principles here is HR versus payroll scope. The basic BC HR module is not a full payroll system. It is not a HRIS, so Human Resource Information System. It's designed for basic employee tracking, qualifications, and expense management. That's it. Very, very simple. Expense reimbursement. Employees act similarly to vendors. They become a employee vendor. So effectively, out-of-pocket expenses, the employee posting group maps their expenses to the geo liability account, and resource linking. If the employee submits timesheets or is scheduled on jobs, their employee card must be linked to a corresponding resource card, and there's a process to go through to link those records. Now, what are the warnings? You have avoid complex leave tracking. So do not use the base employee card to track complex leave accruals or tax brackets unless you have installed a localized payroll extension. I would even go as far as saying there are other things for tracking in a payroll system like superannuation. You may be in countries where you've got insurances that are required. You may have other entitlements. For example, in Asia, they have multiple forms of employee entitlements. I would be I would say you need to use a payroll system and integrate it into BC. Don't use BC as your payroll system unless you're in a region where it's fully supported by Microsoft. Protect sensitive data, so never store highly sensitive payroll data like tax file numbers or salary amounts. I wouldn't do that. And never delete active employees. That can actually cause a bit of heartache and headache. All right, so the procedure itself is you navigate to employees and click new. We've got a template, and so that should actually help us enter the employee number or let the number series enter it. First name, last name, title. You've got address and contacts, what's your gender, like you've got all those type of things that are there for you. We've got administration, set the employment date, ensure the status is set to active. If they submit timesheets, assign their resource number here. Personal and payments, enter the birth date if required, assign an employee posting group and enter the bank account details for expense reimbursements, and validate and save. Now, I would go and add here that you should be if you're looking to do divisional accounting and you're wanting employees to be in set departments, you should have their department dimension set on the record set before you go too far into this, just to make sure that you've got everything that you really need. Let's go take a look. We're going to go have a look at adding an employee. I've already added one within Business Central. All we're going to do is search employees. And so as we go to employees, here we are. I've created myself a profile, and if I change that to a list, it's got my details. I can see here I've done a few things. Okay, you got my awesome picture. I've got an attached agreement for the employee. As I go down the record set, these are all the fields I've got here. As always, please check your personalize for any fields that you feel are missing that you need. There are none in this region here. You've got first name, last name. You can put the middle name. What is their title, their initials, and what's their search name? What's the gender, phone number, and email address? This is the company's contact details. So this is what is used for the individual. And if you go down further, it's got their personal details, their private email and their private phone number. So they can be different. Are they a board member? Okay, specifies as a flag. And are they a manager? I'm going to turn that on. All right. Is privacy blocked? So it specifies whether to limit access to data for the data subject during daily operations. This is useful, for example, when protecting data from changes while it's under privacy review. So we don't need that. We're going to go down. You've got a few fields here that are a little bit crazy. You've got the address and you've still got pages. I haven't seen pages around since the 90s. You've got an extension for the desk extension. It could be 1001. Okay. What's the alternate address code and alternate start date, alternate end date? I'm going to leave them blank and we're going to get into the administration. And this is where we start. Employment date, let's start that on the 1st. Okay. The status is active. Inactive date, we're going to leave blank. The cause of inactivity is just, you've got to add your causes and say they were terminated, they've resigned, etc. What's the termination date? Grounds for termination is, again, dismissed, resigned, retired. Employment contract code, if there is one, and you can actually turn around and load these. These are specific for you, your statistics group code. Okay, these are hourly wages. The resource number, I have created a resource card there for Jared. And the salesperson purchaser code, which is JC. And it's kind of tied all of those data sets together bar the warehouse employee. The engagement type is full-time, part-time, or temporary. Collective bargaining agreement info specifies the value of the collective bargaining agreement information. The reality is that that's just not something that we would ever use. Birth date, union code, union membership number, tax file number. I would usually put this in my HRIS. I'm going to leave that blank. Payments, we're now getting into how we pay. The employee posting group here. Let's go take a look. And all it's got is the payables account. Just here specifies the general ledger account to use when posting rounding differences. So this is rounding. We've got another rounding account. We've got the debit rounding account and the credit rounding account. So it's what you notice here is a payroll system. Where's your superannuation? Where's your PAYG? Okay, this is not a payroll platform as such. This is just giving us the basis for payroll expenses. So as I go back into here, that payables account just here is employees payable, all right? It is effectively a liability account, and then from there, as it's paid out on the balance sheet, it transfers out to an expense account. The currency code, if it's applicable, the application manual is manual. What's the bank and bank account number for them to pay them? IBAN or SWIFT code, so this is now bank details. For payroll, what do we pay? So this just here is specifies the value of the payroll field. This could be a week, a month, a year, and payroll currency working hours is 38 hours. And let's just say that this is per year is 150,000, just like that. There we go. All right, so we've got ourselves an employee record. Now there's a bunch of related employee tables here, okay? Starting off with the dimension. So I've gone and added a employee dimension. But if I go in here, employee, I've got the picture, which I've done. Alternative address, I'm not going to use. Relatives, and this is actually creating effectively a relationship to other contacts. So you can have a record of next of kin. Miscellaneous article information. So on here, I've got this is the computer they've got and the serial number. It just allows me to track information against the employee record that we've given to them. I've got confidential information, and so this may be, for example, insurance, retirement salary, stock, and against this, you can keep your notes. I think where Microsoft went to go with this is great, but it's not something that we use. Qualifications could be useful. Absences by categories. Miscellaneous articles overview, confidential information overview, the ledger entries. So this is the employer ledger entries. When something's actually posted, you can pay the employee, and what is the contact record. So what we have here as a record all comes out when we go to the config pack. Let's take a look. So within the configuration package, I have here employee. I've done what I always do, which is I've clicked on employee. I've added the table 5200. I've gone to functions and clicked get related tables. And here is all of the tables that have actually loaded, okay, with their relevant records. Now, again, as we turn around and take this and we hit export to Excel, this is what the config pack will look like in Microsoft Excel. Excellent. So we have here our employee record, but we've got all of our other tabs here. So I've got the related resource. We've got number series, dimensions, cost centers, cost object, employee, alternative address, the union details, the cause of inactivity, employment, contracts, employee statistic groups, grounds of termination, the posting groups, and the nationalities. Now, these are all here as a batch. You can turn around and load your data into this particular config pack. When you're done, you'll hop straight back into Business Central and you'll hit import from Excel. Now, when you're applying a config pack, you've got to start at the parent record. The employee has to exist. But if the employee needs one of the subtables to go first, sometimes what we find is easier is we'll go down to the subtables and click on them like union. We'll go into Excel and import to the line to fix that first. Because if you go to do the employee and there's no union records in the subtable, it's going to fail. So applying the config packs, look and train on that, how to do that in the particular order, because there's a lot of tables here. But really, at the end of the day, that gets you as a list of employees into the system, and these employees work effectively as a employee vendor record. All right, so taking this to wrap up, what are the exceptions? So missing posting group, and it's going to fail. If an employee tries to submit an expense claim without an employee posting group assigned, the system will throw a dual mapping error. The privacy breach, if standard business users can see employees lists and view personal address or bank or tax information, that's a breach. Okay, that's illegal, that's a problem. And missing resource link. If you're going to do employee records, link it up to your resource cards. Post conditions, what does it take to go to gold? Employee number and name, you got your contact address and details, employment date statuses, and all of the metadata. Employee post group is done. You've got, I'll go further and say their contract and their photographs are all filed within the same record set. You are in a healthy position to look at moving to gold. I would say that employer card is now moved to gold. Let's go take a look in the next video at the resource card.